Yes, now, guys, it is time for the double header in Jeddah. And me and Kyle are doing our predictions for this weekend's race. Kyle, did you like the Miami race? What did you
I
think?
I did like the Miami race, but I know we had a phone call after it because you didn't watch it live, and I talked about the fact that the circuit I didn't think was great. The race we got was, and I think it was because we were saved by the Miami unpredictable weather, and I think it just made an entertaining race. I think throughout it was really good, and I think it really lent into Formula One at one point. There was like three cars with a 10-second gap, and that's we don't see that in what we would call an energy conservation race, or as some of the Formula E zones have taught me, a peloton. But yeah, what did you think, Cole? Because you've watched Formula E since you came out the womb.
Yeah, Formula E. I've watched Formula E out the womb.
No, I
No,
said Formula.
I've watched
Oh,
Formula
sorry.
One out the womb.
Sorry, yeah, sorry about
That's fine. Yeah, I thought the Miami track, I don't think it suited Formula E, like the layout they had. I think, like I described last race, I thought they would do the windy bit at the
that.
start in Sector 1 of the Formula 1 circuit. And I thought the rain saved the race a little bit, because I thought it was going to be too short with the number of laps and the 50 something odd second laps that they were doing. But yeah, the race was sort of saved by the weather, and I like what you said just now, where we had three at the front. I thought the early attack mode was definitely the play at the beginning, and obviously, unfortunately for Drugovic, it didn't work out in the end. But I thought that was a good move, and I was thinking that when I was watching it, and obviously I wasn't watching it live, I had other commitments, but I did watch the whole race, and yeah, I thought the early attack mode was the play. Um, but yeah, overall I was a little bit disappointed with the whole weekend as a whole, but I think that was down to the circuit layout. I think they should race there again, but maybe change it up a little bit. But yeah, I thought overall, we got an exciting race. We didn't know who was going to win, and Mitch Evans came out on top in the Jaguar. So you're happy.
I was very happy, yes. There was obviously a bit of a nail-biting moment when they were fighting each other for, I think, first or second at one point. They were right next to each other. I was like, please, just look after yourself, guys. We need some points on the table. And Mitch Evans was like, yeah, sound, I won't do anything. And Drogovic was rubbing his hands. And yeah, and then obviously took out my lovely Antonio Felix da Costa. But I still think he performed pretty well even after that accident. So as a Jag fan, I cannot complain. And I must say, I've started to notice now, I think I'm a bit of an Envision fan as well. I don't know, because they both run the same powertrain. I rate Buemi, I rate the both Jag drivers, and Ericsson. Like, I know what we said at the beginning, and I'm going to keep reminding us that we really put him in places that he shouldn't have been in, and actually I think we were wrong, and he's showing that he's funny, he's good driver, like it's exactly what Envision needs. So yeah.
Now, I said Joel Eriksson was going to get into the duels, and what did he do, Kyle? He got into the duels. I don't know, I just had a hunch. I just thought, you know what, Eriksson, we weren't very confident about Eriksson in Formula E to begin with at the start of the season. Obviously, we've got a lot of talented drivers in there, and I didn't think Eriksson was going to be where he is now. He's doing great, isn't he, Kyle?
Well, I think, yeah, because it's his first full season, and he'd been in seasons past. He was part of the Gen 2 era, and he didn't really shine as much as like when Oliver Rowland came into Gen 2 and things like that. So yeah, I'm surprised as because he's not a rookie, but I'm surprised he's got the form he does. So, and yeah, I think he's going to be in the top 10, I reckon, maybe higher in the final championship positions, because I do think that powertrain for the Envision is really quick. I actually got on my notes here that Ericsson needs more photos taken. So this is more of a note to the Formula E photographers. Like, on their media library where we get all the content, the best picture of him is the one in just his helmet like this. And for like it's just like, come on guys, like get a picture of Ericsson, because he's doing fantabulous, and he's a helmet pick does not really help help the show.
And Joel Eriksson, if you're watching this and you're avoiding the photographers, go and see him, because we want a beautiful picture of you.
Well, I know that Envision, I think it was, they posted him topless on TikTok. So yeah, exactly, and I think he lent into that. So maybe the photographers are at the wrong time, wrong place. But that's a different side of Formula E content. We're not going to cover it on this channel, but apparently it's out there. Another thing just to mention before we get into our predictions, because I like this show to just because we don't do a race review. We like to just have our little conversations here before we get into the nitty gritty of the pod. But Dan Ticktum, 3 out of 3 DNFs, like that. Yeah, it's not good, is it? And I don't. We didn't even see what happened, but it's not looking good for him in this season, is it?
No, he's had an absolute rotten start. I do feel for him in a way, because obviously some things are just out of his hands. Like, I don't think that he's instigated any of the DNFs that he's had. I think, was it to do with, it was a similar thing to Gunther, wasn't it? Did he have like the wrong tire pressures, or was it, maybe it was just Gunther? I don't know. But he just hasn't got off to the start he probably desired, and I know he knows that he's better than what he's showing at the minute.
Yeah.
And I think he just needs one good result, and then I think he can get his mojo back. But yeah, it's not been the start that he'd hoped for. And to be honest, I wish he'd had a better start.
Yeah, especially when I quite like him. I think he is championship material. And especially the Kiro being, I think it's powered by the Porsche. Yeah, it is. So I think it's one of those that's just like, he is the star team, but Marty's the only one with points on the board, and Marty's had a somersault. So, it's a big, it is a big thing for Dan Ticktum. But for the Dan Ticktum fans out there, Jaguar were on 0 points last week, and they're now 7th in the championship. Had DaCosta not had his incident, they could have been 2nd or 3rd in the championship. So it is still all to play for. So, and while we're talking about championships, we have the Fan Zone Championship, which is what you guys can take part in by leaving your predictions below. Big shout out to the Nikki94. You've been a fan of the channel since we got started, when we had less than 100 subscribers. So firstly, massive thank you for supporting the channel and all the comments and all the conversations you've had with us. But also, well done. You are the 3rd different winner of the Fan Zone Championship. There wasn't many points on the board, and that shows how unpredictable Miami was. I didn't score very well. You did, Core. You scored 7 points. That's the most you've scored this season, leaving us tied on 17 points apiece. So It's all to play for.
I noticed that last week you nicked my 2nd spot, so I put Muller in there, and then Muller came 2nd. So thank you for picking Roland as 2nd place, because it meant I got more points. So yeah, that's how unpredictable it is. He wasn't even my first pick.
It's boldpredictions.com is what we called it. And I joked last week that we sponsored by Bold. It is actually a detergent. And I was going to get an empty bottle stick in the background. But when you reminded me that we've got to record this, because next week we do this all in a week in advance. But there was no time to go to the supermarket and get the joke. But that was something I was going to bring. So we do a podcast version. So I'm just going to say how the points are scored for the ones who are watching it on YouTube. Here's the scoring points. But we score a point for every correct position in the group stage. We get 2 additional points if the driver gets into the correct position we selected. So, and it's probably the best way we score points in this championship. Same with podiums. We've got 1 point for the right position, but we get 1 point for the correct position. So there is a difference. You can get 12 in the groups, and you can get 6 in the podium places. 3 points for pole position, 2 points for the Energized Driver on accuracy. We can score between 0 and 2. Same with the Depleted, and then for what I call pity points, but it kind of isn't now because Corey's caught up. But
the Corey pity points round.
It's not pity points this week, but it's the winning team. So, and that is the one who scores the most out of the joint drivers. It's kind of one of those ones that the race winner is likely to be the winning team, but it's not always the case, because last week, it could have gone either way if DaCosta was there. So, but yeah, that's kind of the rules of the show. So we're going to get into it. Corey starts this week. Now, the way we do double headers, because we've been thinking about this as we've been going through, and we've been putting it off because when we started the show, we were like, well, we'd have to think about it yet. But now we're at the first double header. We're actually going to run this very similar to how we did the first race. So Corey can pick a driver from any of the groups, because we want to be able to do these results for both races. So that's why we're not limiting ourselves to the groups. We've kind of got the upper hand now, Cor, because everyone else in the comments can pick anyone, and we can too. The only difference is, if Corey picks a driver, I can't have it, but it also means that I can have his teammate if I wanted. We can only pick one driver from one constructor. I hope that sets the rules. So I guess with no further ado, is that the sentence? I had it in my head. I don't know.
With no further ado. Yeah, that's great. So, for my fourth in the Duels, I am going for the man, the myth, the legend in Corey folklore. It's Gunther. He's back. I'm bringing him back. Yes, right. We all know he had an excellent race last year, and he's due a good one this year. So I have no more explanation. Gunther's in there for me, and that's it. So that full stop. Next, your go.
He's a bold pick, and I like it. Yeah, and I think after last weekend, he's going to be hungry for some wins, and he's got 2 opportunities to do it this weekend. So yeah, a good one. So for my fourth, I feel like we're really picking the bold predictions right now. I've gone for Ericsson. Yes, and look, he's got a different picture. But I just think he is kind of the underdog story of the Formula E season 12. I think by London, I'm going to have Ericsson merch. I'm going to be like, woo! Like, honestly, he could be fighting for the championship if he keeps going the way he is. Imagine that, though. What a story if that's the case. But I just think, yes, it's a new track for him, but because this goes over 2 weekends, he's going to practice what he wants to do on Saturday, and then he's going to win on Sunday. So, not that that's got anything to do with the qualifying in the Duels, but that's why I think he's going to be a confident pick for my 4th position. So I'm loving this. Like, this is great already.
We love a bold call, and I love the fact that we've both gone for 2 drivers that we wouldn't pick every week. So yes, I love it. Right. So here's my 3rd pick for the Duels. I have gone for Edo Mortara.
Ooh.
And I don't really have too much of an explanation. I just think, right, I'm playing this. I feel like this week I'm playing it a bit strategically. And I want drivers that I know you won't pick instead of me. I don't want you to pick someone that I wanted. And I've just felt like Mortara is just going to be... I think he's just going to be on it this weekend. I do. So I've just... Yeah.
I think Mahindra as well are a strong car. They were the strongest out of testing. Not that that means anything. But yes, I think, one, he's very consistent. He's been in the top end of the points. He hasn't really put a foot wrong. He had that thing in Brazil, but that was kind of not his fault. But I think, that's a solid shout.
He's been in good form, and the Mahindras, like you said, 5th and 6th last week. So they're on the way up.
Consistency.
So, yeah.
And we know where consistency gets you. For me, I'm going for my 3rd, and I've got both the drivers written down here because I was like, if he takes it, I'm just going to happily go for the other one. And I'm going for my 1st pick. I'm backing my boy, Antonio Felix da Costa. Yes! I feel so happy that I can say that with confidence that he's not going to have a bad weekend. Not that he's energized or depleted, but he's been consistent, actually. He's just had some poor results, and I've lost faith, but I've gained it back. So, and if he is watching the videos, well, that's just amazing, isn't it? See, he's one of his biggest fans cheering him on.
Felix da Costa fan right here, or that way, I don't know.
I haven't even worked out where I am in the edit. I think I'm that way, I think, because I'm in the second. I don't know. Imagine,
either way,
we're going to put that side call.
Oh, I don't know. We could put a picture of someone. I don't know. Yes. Anyway, moving on. My 2nd pick is Da Costa's teammate. I've gone Evans. So on the subject of Jaguar, I've gone for Evans, and I just think hot off a win. He's got confidence in his veins. He's going to be pulsating. Is that the right word?
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I just want to announce to anyone who's watching this podcast, I think me and Corey are getting very excited. You haven't just put it on 1.5 speed. Like, Corey's just ploughing through these results.
We're flying through. Yeah, we're flying through. We're going to be flying through like Mitch Evans in the Duels, Kyle. So yes, he's in.
Okay, I guess I'll speedily go into who I think has been my scarily consistent person, and that's the Beast from Barnsley. I think Oliver Rowland, he did well last season at this track. Obviously, he got Gunther'd, but, is that going to happen again? I'm not too sure. I like how we're talking about race results, and it's actually just the qualifying we're on about here. But, yeah, I just think he's going to be up there in the Duels. So, who is the top of the qualifying for you?
Right. I have gone for Pascal Wehrlein. because, well, to be honest, he just had a good race, didn't he? And Porsche, again, like I'm talking about the race again, but Porsche was strong, and I was going to pick either Muller or Wehrlein, and I think because Wehrlein, I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
He is good. We know he is. He's a world champion. So I've just put Pascal Wehrlein in there, and I thought you might have picked him, so I thought I'd be, snubbing you a little bit. But your reaction suggests otherwise. So who have you gone for?
Well, that's interesting. Firstly, I just want to comment on Pascal. He's put Porsche in a very, very good position. Like, they are miles ahead of the Constructors' Championship. He's like sniffing distance, 2 points off consistent Cassidy, or as somebody mentioned in the comments, calculated Cassidy, because we've called him consistent because he kind of is, but apparently he's got a better name. But yeah, I didn't put any of the Porsche drivers in my top group stages. And I realised, reading the regulations, my first pick I can't actually pick because I've chosen Ericsson, and I was originally going to go for his teammate, which I'm not going to say because the graphic will come up on screen, and that's selling the wrong idea. So I'm going to have to go for my backup one, which is really bold, but he did get into the duels last week, and that's Norman Nato. So, yes, I think it was a very weird race in Miami.
But unfortunately, Kyle, you have picked Oliver Rowland.
Oh, no!
So you cannot pick Norman Nato.
Right. Yeah, well, thank you for reading the rules. I forgot about that. It's because, if I show you my list, I've literally picked all my B-spec ones. So, yeah, you're right. I can't do that. So I think I was going bowlcalls.co.uk. Okay, well, that has really thrown a spanner in the works because I clearly don't know the rules, and I'm just going to have to go for consistent Cassidy then because...
He's a safe bet, isn't
he? He is. I think last week was a fluke, and I was going to mention with Nissan, it was very weird that both the Citroens and the Nissans were almost doing a track test day. They weren't. I mean, they obviously clearly were pushing, but they were out of position. They just couldn't make up the ground, and it was kind of anyone's game because it was wet, and maybe it was the masterclass of the attack mode, so I don't know. But well done, Corey. Yeah. I'm not going to give you an extra point for catching that, but that was good of you.
It was like someone had put their spoon in Nissan and Citroen's pudding, and they weren't happy about it. So I don't know. They just weren't at it, were they?
No,
they really weren't at it. So yeah. Anyway, right. So we have got our pole position picks now.
Yes.
So
I get to go first, which I'm excited about. Oh, silly me hasn't actually written one down, so I'm going to have to pick one off the top of my head here. I am going to go for Buemi then. I'm going to go for Buemi because I still haven't got the answer to Mexico. Why was he so quick? Why was he so quick? And why was he so quick? Because, qualifying, then he went off the track, he came back, got to 6th from last place, had a puncher. And I know we're talking about Mexico and we've just had Miami, but why was he so quick? So I know I sound like an absolute delusional here, but I need answers, and I want him to score and be on pole position again. So
Kyle, I don't think any prediction is delusional because, it's Formula E. None of us are getting it nailed on, apart from the circuit breakers who did really well.
Taylor, you're going down in the history books.
Yeah. My predictions could be delusional, but my pole position, just to get into my prediction so we can talk about it, is Mortara. I've gone for him. And obviously I've gone for someone in my duels because, makes sense.
Because it doesn't matter where you put them in the group stage, because what we're sort of betting on in this is that they're going to get through to the duels, and then it's game on. So yeah.
Yes, so I've doubled down on Mortara really, but yeah, I just think he's going to have a better weekend, and I think he's going to qualify well, and I've got him in my dual selection, so I was going to pick one of my 4 because I could have picked anybody. It's not like I only had half the grid to choose from this time. So I've gone for Mortara. I've just, out of the 4, I've just gone for Mortara. There's no real proper explanation for why. I could have picked any of them.
When we don't go predictable, we can't guarantee points, but actually with Formula E you can't guarantee points anyway. There are some safe bets, and I think I've played my next couple a bit safer than normal, but that sometimes ends up with scoring absolutely nothing because, again, Formula E just rolls a 20-side dice and whatever number comes up first wins. So that's our pole positions. Energized Driver. Now this, of course, we get scored on both races, so it'll be interesting. But if, let's say, they have a bad race 4 but have a good race 5, then the points are still scored independently. So, and we will be rating the races that you guys put in the comment section the same way. So don't worry if your driver crashes out in race 4, because we'll pick it up in race 5, and there are 2 championship positions in our fan zone championship. But Corey, who's your Energized driver? Who do you think is going to do really well this race weekend?
Right, so Kyle, I have gone for the Zebra. I've gone Marty. He's there's no real particular reason. I just think that I looked at if he'd raced there before, and he'd raced there before in Formula 2, and he was strong in the Formula 2 Championship. I know you can't really compare Formula 2 to Formula E, but if he's scoring well in a different category, he's quite capable of doing it again in another category. So I just thought, I've done a little bit of research, and I'm gonna use it. I'm not gonna have it as time wasted. So I've gone for Pepe Marti as my Energized driver for the double header weekend. So hopefully, he'll have a good weekend. That's about it, really. Who have you gone for?
So I had 2 drivers down, because we have to in this show, because we pinch each of us all the time. So I had a feeling you might go one way or the other. And I thought, actually, there's a way you can sort of play this, because me and Corey judge the drivers and we score it on how we believe it is fair. And sometimes it's always good to go for someone who had a crap weekend the weekend before, because it makes them look absolutely fantastic the weekend after. And this track, he just loves, I think. He dominates it. He shows his performances. So I've gone for Corey's favourite, Maximilian Gunther. So I just think it's a good time. DS Penske are going to want to wake up and score more constructors' points. He's quick. He's confident. He likes this track. Well, I think he does. So I'm going to go with the good old Maxi boy. So from best to worst, and I've started saying this in unscripted as well. We don't like it because you've got to put someone in the bin. But actually, I'm just going to go for it. You may as well. I want to tell you who I wanted to put, but I'm probably not going to do that right now because you might still do it. So, but for my pick for Depleted Driver, I've gone for Pascal Wehrlein. So I just think when you think Depleted, you've got to think about who's going to not come out the best of the weekend. And I think he still will. But for me, I'm hoping he doesn't. It keeps the championship alive. I think as well that there are like 8 to 10 drivers who can get on that podium. And I think, it's open game. So I'm going for Pascal Wehrlein.
Fair enough, Kyle. I think historically he's not done too badly there. But we'll, like I said, it's all to play for. I think, any one of these drivers could have a bad weekend. And the one I've chosen is actually Norman Nato. I think Nissan were at a low last week, or last race, as we have established. I don't think Norman Nato. I think if they're going to recover, I don't think it'll be him that recovers the most out of the Citroens and the Nissans that struggled. So I've just put Nato. I just think if anyone's going to get better and have a bad week last time, and then be better, I think Norman Nato will be the last out of the 4 of those 2 teams. So I've just picked him. That's it, really.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. I think he's one of those that I personally think that either Oliver Rowland's a bit like Max Verstappen in Formula 1, where you've got one good driver who's dialed into that car, or whether Norman Nato is just not as... Well, it's the same outcome, isn't it, really? Is it just that Oliver Rowland is really, really consistent and it's bedded in, or is it just that Nato can't keep up with the pace? Again, I think I've just said the same thing twice. But I know what I mean. Like, it's hard to tell because, like, last week they were together. But then normally is where are they together? But actually in Sao Paulo, I feel like I'm contradicting myself as I start to reflect. Because I don't think about Nato much because he's not a big name that gets thrown into the mix as much. With like same with John-Eric Verne. Like, where's he been this season? Like, I think it's one of those where they're sat in the midfield, so they kind of haven't done bad, but they haven't done anything incredible to be talked about. So, yeah, I think it's a good shout. I think, I think it's a good shout. So... Yeah. So from Depleted, we're now going to go into our podium. Sorry, I've lost my order. Let me turn my pad over. So it's you to start on 3rd position.
So, 3rd position. I have gone for the man you just hyped up, Max Gunther. I just, you explained it very well, and I feel like I won't need to add much to it. I reckon he likes this track, and I think he enjoys himself out there. and I was going to be, Corey bold and put him first, but then I thought, I'm doing it over both races, so I'll put him in third. So yeah, I've gone for Gunther in third, and just basing it off your explanation.
Yeah. So for my third, I've got such a mixed list, and I'm like, do I? Don't I? Do I throw it? Do I sort of like spin my list around to actually be like not bold calling, but just keep it really entertaining? But I'm going to stick with one of my options, and I'm going to go for Sebastian Buemi. Again, I said before why I just think it was really weird that he didn't do as well last week, and I think he's on the pace. So my gut's telling me to do it. As an Envision/Jag fan, that's what my gut's telling me to do. So that's who I'm going for third place. I get the luxury of second, and I'm going to go for Mitch Evans. I think, like last week, he was quick, and I think Jaguar just had a bad start to the season. I'm really hoping it is. And yeah, I'm backing the boys, so I'm going for Mitch Evans. Who is your second position, Corey? Who is it?
Right. I might be giving away a later pick by choosing this man, but I've gone for Taylor Barnard as P2. I just think it's... I mean, I'm going to explain later because I think we already know who I'm picking for my team now. But DS Penske, I think, are going to have a good weekend. And I know they haven't had the best of starts to the championship, but I think Barnard is going to come in second, at least in one of the races, or he's going to get a podium at least. So he was just my inkling. I just have a feeling. So yeah, that is my choice of second in the race. So yes.
I just want to add a comment before you tell me about your first. But Taylor Barnard is... I'm glad you brought him up because we like to talk about all the drivers on this podcast. Some don't get the airtime like Degrassi and Zane Maloney, but I'm hoping by the end of the season they do. But Barnard had an interesting race last week. I think he got knocked out of the Duels, which I think was the biggest shock. And I think he is talented, and I think, yes, it's one of these ones we're going to notice he's going to spring back and probably score quite a few points this race. And I really hope that DS Penske, which I can kind of understand what you're saying there. I can put your mind at rest, Corey. I've not picked DS Penske, so spoiler for the rest of you. Tune in for Corey's first, and then you can all bog off because Corey's calling the show earlier. But yeah, I think it's a good call for Taylor Barnard. So yeah, first position. Who have you got?
Oh yeah.
Who have you got written down? You get the luxury of that.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Right. I have gone for Pascal Wehrlein. I'm gonna go fully against you with your depletion of Wehrlein's Jeddah weekend. I have picked him as first. I just think he is gonna win. I think he's been in and around the fringes. He had a strong race last time. I think it's his time this time. So, and obviously Porsche have been very good. So I've gone for Wehrlein, and I had him in my Duels as well. So I think he's going to have a strong weekend regardless. So I put him in there.
Yeah,
I've put him in to win.
It's a good shout. I think he's one of those ones that is just cut from a different piece of cloth, isn't it? So he's just fast, and me and Corey, and if you've watched this show from the very beginning, we like our metaphors and we like our phrases, but we don't. Well, I certainly don't know them all, but
we definitely don't know what we're saying.
No.
But we're trying to make it sound like it works.
And it's not a facade. Literally, I hear them in my head, but I don't know what they mean. But yes, Pascal is I think so far he's opened that championship wide open, because like when we were talking in Mexico coming into Miami, it was the three drivers. It was Cassidy, it was Jake Dennis, and it was Oliver Rowland as like the three that were contending for the championship, all red cars. And then Pascal came in last week and was like started in ninth, just going to get up there, and he worked really hard for that. For my first position though, I've gone for a yellow team, but anyone who's not new to Formula E or caught in last week, it's not a yellow team we were expecting at the start of the season. I've gone for Jake Dennis in the new highlighter coloured Andretti. Because we didn't talk about it, because we recorded the show before they announced it, and I know that SB10, we had a chat after the race, and everyone was saying that he called that, and that was always going to happen. just talking about that livery, because we haven't really spoke about it on the show. People aren't happy though, because of this world of AI, and that's what that car sort of stands for. People aren't happy that, oh, it's another AI thing. But I actually think, do you know what? There was too many red cars on the grid. It was what I said in my pre-season show. I'm all rating for it. I just don't like the way it's shown on the website, because you can't actually read the names. So Formula E, if you're watching this, like, just knock it down a couple of shades so you can read Jake Dennis's name on the website. So, but Jake Dennis, I think I called it last week, was going to have a bad race, and it's just kind of consistent, isn't it, in Formula E? You don't win every weekend. Like, your car isn't tuned aerodynamically for every single track. It's a completely different sport. So I just think he's going to bounce back, and I think, go on, Dennis, slap it on first place again. So, yeah, that's who I'm going for. Not pity points, and because we're drawing, it's kind of just going to go back into the original format. So I get to start this week, because it's that Corey had the advantage through the whole of the show, so it's my turn to have a little bit of advantage. No surprise, though, because Corey's already picked his, and I wasn't going to pick that. So I'm quite happy for one, so I haven't got a backup. But I am going to go for, actually, graphic winning team. Sorry, forgot about that. I'll be looking at myself and the editor like, you idiot, you forgot about something.
I'm choosing DS Penske.
No, I'm certainly not choosing DS Penske. I have gone for Jaguar TCS Racing. I just think, now hear me out, Corey, hear me out, right?
Shock.
If Jag have two phenomenal races, they could be level or ahead of Porsche, because it's that close in the championship.
Is that what you think, or is that what you want?
That's what I want, but I think it's the winning team isn't cursed. It's also not. It doesn't give you anything anyway in our show. So I just think we've never. I mean, to be honest, actually, no one's ever got it right. You know, only Taylor from Circuit Breakers has ever got that question right. So we'll see what he says in the comment section below, and that's probably likely what's going to happen. But I've gone for Jaguar TCS Racing. I have no clue who you're going to go for. Who is it, Cole? Thanks for sharing that. I just put the graphic up.
Yeah, I've gone for Lola Yamaha. No, I have obviously gone for DS Penske, because I just think it's going to be their weekend. Who knows? They could be absolutely dire, and my prediction is awful. But they're 8th in the constructors. They're not, flying high. I think they're due a good weekend. I'd probably say that every single video. They're due a good weekend. But yeah, I just think with Gunther's track record on this track and Barnard, I just think he's going to hit a bit of a purple patch now. I just think, DS Penske, I've got them both on the podium. I'm double downing on them. I just think, it's going to be their time. And touch wood, they do, because, and if Gunther wins, we're one step closer to a DS Penske t-shirt for me.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
We can try and believe it into existence, or whatever the saying is.
Yeah.
So
I think
talk it into existence.
Someone's going to give us a book of phrases soon and help us along our journey. Do you remember, though, everyone who's listening, that this is a show that we literally created at the very start of the season, and we're proud of what the community we've created, and having you guys involved in your own little championship as well has been really fun for the ride. And I hope if there's any, and we do like a bit of feedback. It's not criticism. We've had some great comments recently about how we can improve and what we can do, some on the unscripted stuff, and we really do value the comments. So do feel free to be like, I really like the show, but could you try and do this? We're probably not going to add any more questions to the format, because it's quite a long show as it is. But yeah, I just want to sort of add that honourable mention to anyone who's actually listened this far in. Honestly, just supporting the channel in a way has really given us a platform to laugh and to actually enjoy the races a little bit more. Like, race day starts for us on the Monday of race week now, because we're forever posting content. We're watching the news, and then when it gets to qualifying, which, as I mentioned in my unscripted, I really love the fact that qualifying and the race day is the same day. I just think you don't have to sleep, you don't have to plan your whole weekend around it. I know double headers are slightly different, but I know when I've watched other racing series and the qualifying happens, and then it's like, okay, I've got to wait 24 hours now for the race, and then it could be a stinker. It's like, well, I've just wished my weekend away. But you wake up on that Saturday morning, you watch qualifying, you ring Corey up, see what he thinks, and then you're watching the race and it's just absolute bangers. And then to do it once again on the Sunday, it's like a 3-day bender.
Yeah. It's like a lad's holiday, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
You're non-stop the whole time.
Exactly.
So, yes, I'm very excited, Kyle. I must admit, I'm very excited for the Saudi, the Jeddah race.
Yeah.
And the double header, because like I stated in a previous video, I wasn't really a big Formula E fan. I just sort of caught the highlights, but I didn't really know like who was good or who was bad. And I just think, you know what, now that I'm actually getting into it and then, you know, doing these videos is very helpful because I enjoy watching it and I feel like I've got something riding on it now. So I really, really want to watch it. And this is my first double header, so I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing for it.
It's a lot of work, and obviously we're only doing this one video because there's no way to be able to turn this show around in between the races, so we decided very early on that we were only ever going to do one show, but how we scored the points was the question. Now, one thing I will throw, and I just wanted to get all the predictions out of the way, I want to talk about Dan Ticktum. So we've got a bit of space and time just to have a little chat about what we expect this weekend to be. How would you actually, I'll tell you what I think of Dan Ticktum and then you tell me what you think he should do, because I'm getting a bit worried about Dan Ticktum, that he is getting too aggressive now. And I know you said, oh, it's good, he's fiery, but how much of that is actually knocking his own confidence? Is he getting a bit too annoyed with the team because he's got no points to show for his caliber? And is he gonna, if he stays in that mentality, is that going to affect his season?
I think the word you're looking for is desperation. I think now that he's had 3 non-finishes, he's no points, I think he's going to be desperate. He wants to prove himself. We know that. And obviously with his fiery interviews and his digs at his team and stuff, I think it just shows that he really wants it. And I think it's a bit of grit inside Dan Ticktum that he really wants to do well. And you know, some people deceive it as, oh, he's just arrogant. He thinks he's better than what he is. Blah de blah. I think from a Ticktum point of view, I think he's just desperate for a good result. And you know, it's been a long time since he's been in and around the points of a Formula E race. Obviously, we're talking last year. So I think he is desperate for it, and I think that's probably what is going on in his mind. I mean, I might be completely way off, but from a fan's point of view, I think he is desperate and he really, really wants to get where he wants to be, and I think he knows he's capable of it. But we'll see. I think we'll see. What do you think?
I think after watching the Driver series, where we saw season 2 showed a relationship between Pascal Wehrlein and Dan Ticktum, that's when the light bulb came in my head that I was like, he drives for a Porsche powertrain in Kiro and he is good. Would he be the one who replaces Muller if that doesn't go the way it is? And I feel like the chances of that happening now have gone quite slim, because I feel like he's starting to look like he can't keep the Kiro together, even though 2 of the races I blame Nick de Vries for, because the first one he crashed into him. The second one, Nick de Vries was at the back but brought the safety car out, which pushed him off the track from the Da Costa incident, I think it was. And then I think it is the tyre pressures for Miami.
Yeah.
So, but it's not impossible for him to not get up to the top. I just think the chances of him like having this opportunity to win the championship, even though if he wins both races this week and all the others have mares, where's that put him? That would actually probably put him in the lead. So, or maybe 4th. If he just absolutely energized it, he could probably get to 4th. Just like how we've seen Jag go from this depressing mess to, you know, ready to take the fight back to Porsche, who are 30 points or 28 points ahead of Citroën. So, I don't know who's actually second. I think it's Citroën, isn't it, who's leading? So, but Corey, you can stat check that while we're on this.
Yes, I will stat check it. We are currently,
and I think
with Porsche on top, and we have Citroën are second by they're a fair few points behind Porsche, but they're 6 points ahead of Mahindra.
Yeah, and as I said, if you want to catch up with all the talk of what I took away from Biggest Winners and Losers, you can watch the Miami Unscripted. I'm slowly moulding that show into Winners and Losers because I know that some of you really like that sort of format, just to talk about it. And how I'm going to do it on the next one, I will probably just do one video for the weekend, but sort of talk on all the races, because there's going to be so much to take in, so much to happen, and I think it's one of those where, yeah, it's a good track. It's the first night race. I think they're planning to do a second one this season, but there's not been a confirmation. It's Tokyo for anyone who wants to know what I'm referring to. If you want some inklings of why, go look on the website. It won't tell you the start time. So all the other races have a start time. So, and I know that Jack and Jack from Formula E Zone, they've mentioned something along the lines of that as well. So, but yeah, is there anything else you want to bring up about Jeddah, Corey? As we've got bring this video to a close.
It's not specifically about Jeddah, but it's more so about the calendar. I think we're going to be so high off this weekend, and then we've got to wait a month till Madrid. And it's like, and then after Madrid, we've got to wait another month. So I think we've really got to take in this weekend and enjoy it for the double header that it is. And then, but I mean, that's all I had to say, really.
I laughed when you said that because you can tell who edits the videos and who doesn't. Because when you reminded me that we've got a podcast to do this week, I was like, oh, already? I've just come off editing and uploading and all that. But yeah, you're right. It's the gaps are definitely something I want to see closed. But when we talk about this show, because it takes, and I'll be truthful with all of you, the show, we record this on a Thursday normally. I can get this turned around over the weekend and then it's out on the Wednesday. But like it's healthy. I can do it. It's a good amount of time. It's not a lot of pressure. We can fit it around daily life. I've seen the Formula One calendar has a triple header. I would not want to do what Matt and Tommy from P1 do. Well, I mean, they probably have editors because of the channel size, but like, crikey. To do this, I mean, I will if I had to for the commitment of the sport because I absolutely love it. But like with us, I feel like we do have that sort of like, take a breather, watch a bit of football, do something else. Formula E's back, and especially with these last couple of races, they have felt quite close. But yeah, let us know what you think actually in the comments about the distance between the races. Because I think, it is a month and it will drag, but it's one of those where, like, if we could get one every 3 weeks for the whole season, that would be quite nice. I think it's a good, or every 2 weeks, like this one is. But double headers, I don't know why they're not all double headers, to be honest.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Not for my workload, but for the whole community and the point system. Like having 2 in Sao Paulo, then Christmas, then 2 in Mexico, and then 2 in, like, I don't see why they don't. Because the championship would be ripped apart, and it also means you don't get people with too many DNFs at the start because they could have a bad one race, but then they can redeem themselves. Because that's what I think about motorsport is you go through practice 1, 2, and 3, you do an excellent qualifying, and then you're taken out in the first lap. It's like how demoralising that must be for a driver, and you can tell by some of the frustrations with Dan Ticktum. And it must be just like all that time and effort gone to something that you couldn't even score a single point for. So but that's it. I think excited. I will be probably doing I'm going to commit to it because I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do a race week show, so if you want to catch up with some of the news of anything that's come out between this recording and race week, even though this comes out after, how confusing, but we'll be doing a video just on quick short news of race week, which talks about just what to expect and who to look out for, and then obviously we've got the post race show of Unscripted. So I hope you've enjoyed this format. It's a little bit longer, but I think me and Corey are liking to just push out some more of the news. We've seen in the comments and the engagement that you like longer shows and more details, and the bold predictions. Keep everyone else, pop them in the comments below of who you want to score and take part in our Fan Zone Championship. So anything else, Cor, before we say goodbye?
Obviously, I just mentioned that there's a month until the next race. I will do some research on actual quotes and sayings and make sure that I scrub up on my English and grammar. No, that's it really, Kyle. I'm just dead excited for the race this weekend, even though it's not this weekend when we record it. Yeah. But I'm pumped. I actually am really excited. So hopefully it's an absolute cracker.
So, thank you everybody for watching our show, and we will speak to you you'll see Corey in Madrid.
Cue the outro!